It is Sunday, November 19th, 2023. It's been about 2 months since my bone marrow transplant. And quite frankly, this past week, like the other updates I've had over the last few weeks, has been pretty good. The only thing of significant to report is that last weekend, I didn't really have a really good weekend. And I felt kind of dizzy every time I stood up, so we took my blood pressure, and it was low standing, not low sitting, not low lying, but low standing. Like sometimes like really low, like 60 over 35. I think the lowest it got was 50 something with the top number. And so, and it's been pretty consistent all this week. Every time I stand up, I feel a little dizzy. If we take my blood pressure, either ourselves or at the clinic, I have pretty low blood pressure pretty consistently when I'm standing. Also had daily treatments Monday through Friday of a drug that I had taken before. Is the actual treatment for MDS. And I did not tolerate the drug the first time I took it. I had it in July and August. They gave me less than half the dosage that I had back in July and August. And I tolerated quite well. I didn't even know that they gave it to me, quite frankly. It didn't make any difference whatsoever. So that was good. I was expecting a really horrible week, and I ended up with a relatively decent week other than standing up. So I also thought, and I've been thinking about this for some time, sharing with you what I was given before my transplant. And so I had an informed consent for treatment. And basically what I was told ahead of time was that when they did the genetic testing of the MDS that I have, it would be relatively aggressive, and that it would most likely develop into leukemia. And basically what it is the cells within the bone marrow that make blood, white blood, and platelets were genetically damaged, and those genetically damaged blood cells kept on multiplying cancer. And over time, they would outproduce my good blood producing cells, and my blood counts would keep on going down, and eventually I would die because I didn't have any blood. And the only treatment would be to postpone it with the treatment that I had in July and August, and then once it got really bad, to get blood transfusions until that didn't work. And so all the doctors that looked at it, looked at the test results, basically said, maybe a year and a half of life left with no treatment at all. The only solution to the problem was the bone marrow transplant. And then when I got this informed consent and started reading through it, it was like, well, even though you get this bone marrow transplant, it could kill you. So I just wanted to share a few of the things that is in this informed consent. So first, there are risks associated with an allogenic transplant, some of which can be life-threatening. Please ensure you're familiar with these as described in the risks and side effects section below. So if we go to that. Risks of high-dose chemotherapy and radiation. And it goes through and lists the drugs that they'll be giving me and the risks as such. And then it says side effects include, but are not limited to, and I underlined a decrease in your total white blood cell count, increasing risk of infection, bacterial, viral, fungal, and others. This may result in life-threatening infection, to include pneumonia, blood infection, and sepsis. And this is still ongoing, even though I've been doing pretty well thus far. And then they have a long list, like a long list of side effects. I only highlighted 2 of them. First is what you're seeing right now, hair loss, all body hair, including eyelashes, etc., etc. So I pretty much have experienced that. It's beginning to grow out a little bit, and my eyebrows have thinned out but have not gone away. And the second one that I highlight is organ failure, including heart, lung, liver, kidney failure, see below. So organ damage may damage any or all the major organs, including the brain, can occur because of the added toxic effect of the pre-transplant treatment. The transplant itself and any other of the post-transplant complications. Damage to the brain can result in loss of nervous system function, including learning disabilities, loss of ability to think properly, loss of ability to take care of oneself, loss of ability to move. So that was wonderful when I first read that. And then there's a risk of graft rejection and graft failure. Graft rejection or graft failure means that the donor cells do not take over production of healthy blood cells in the recipients. If this does occur, it may result in development of life-threatening infections, bleeding, and eventual death, if not reversed. And then long-term side effects. All chemotherapy and immunosuppressant therapy may result in the risk of getting other cancers years after treatment. So, and then it goes on specifying some other ways I might die from this. And so when I first got this, I was reading through this. I was going, wow. So I could die by not doing anything, and I could die from doing something. So I'm not out of the woods. Most of this paperwork says that most of the greatest risk factors are in the first 100 days. So we're a little bit past half that time. So I just thought that would be at least a little bit interesting to share. And even though I look like I'm doing pretty well, and as I post these videos, I relatively feel good, it does not mean that I'm out of the woods, and could result in loss of life somewhere along the line. But with your prayers, and if the Lord desires me to continue on the ministry and the life that He's given me, then I will come on the other end of this with at least a decade or more, maybe 2, maybe 3, who knows, of life after all this is done. But so that's my update for Sunday, November 19th. For those of you preparing for Thanksgiving, I hope and pray that those preparations go well, and as your families gather together, that you think of all sorts of good things to be thankful for, including thankful that your friend Thomas is relatively doing well. So you'll have a great week.